Welcome to another episode of the Shine and Thrive Photography Podcast. I'm your host, Sarah Monica, and I'm so excited to dive into today's episode because it's one that I know a lot of you have been waiting for. I've been promising you this episode in the Shine and Thrive Photography community on Facebook because a lot of you know that I've been on a journey of switching from Pixieset to Pic-Time in my photography business. So I promised you that I'm going to, put this all together once I've experienced a full year with Pic-Time so I can actually share with you my experience, my thoughts, and my actual print sale results as well. So get ready because I hope that this will actually help you decide which platform is better for you to use in your business. So I'm just going to dive right in. And firstly, I just want you to know that this is also going to be on YouTube because I'm actually recording this on my computer and I'm doing like a slideshow. Not a slideshow. Oh my God, I have like a slide deck. I have a slide deck in front of me that I'm presenting with because I know some people visually need to see numbers in order to learn better, and others can just listen to them and absorb them. So I'm creating both options for both learning styles. So you can always tune into this on YouTube as well if you are just listening to this as the podcast version, or if you're watching this on YouTube, you can also tune into the podcast version if you want to go for a walk and take in the numbers that way as well. So first, I do want to say that when I have a great experience with another business or another company, I naturally just want to share it with all of you because it'll help you make a better decision for your business. So that is always my number one, my main goal. I do have an affiliate coupon code that I will be sharing with you at the end of this episode, just so you can get a little bit of a perk if you do want to sign up. And then I get a little bit of a kickback as well. But affiliate marketing isn't at all really that much of a income stream for me that I'm focusing on. My main focus is to help you make decisions easier in your business, quicker in your business. So that's kind of where I'm at. And that's why I'm sharing. I'm like, I genuinely am just excited to share these numbers with you. And on top of that, I love sharing numbers from my actual business to help you see what's possible and to, stop that whole idea that talking about money is taboo and all of that. I think that the more we talk about that, the more we can all grow to succeed together. So yeah, I'm always open to sharing my numbers and having that conversation with you. Okay, so diving in. So you're probably wondering, okay, when did you switch from Pixieset to Pic-Time? So I officially made the switch in off season of March 2021, and you probably know why. I did it in off season because it's a little bit of a project, and you don't want to be migrating and switching around galleries and figuring out learning a new system in the middle of your busy season, right? Or like the main season that you have in photography. So I did that in off season in March 2021. And right now, when I'm recording this episode, it's February 2022. So it's pretty much almost been a year now. And why? Why did I even make the switch? So pretty simple. Pixieset didn't. So I'm in Canada. I'm in Ontario, Canada, and Pixieset unfortunately didn't support having a Canadian lab, which meant that the pricing for prints was so much higher for my clients because our Canadian dollar compared to the US dollar, there's a little bit of a difference there. And on top of that, the shipping was also higher for my clients. And so I felt like with the pricing being a little bit higher, not only did my clients maybe not want to order as much, but also my profit margin was much smaller. So I was like a loyal client with Pixieset for so many years. I was waiting for them to switch over to having a Canadian lab option literally for 2 or 3 years after, photographers were asking for it, and they just didn't make it happen. And I kind of just was like, I was at the point where I'm like, okay, it's time. And it wasn't just that, it was also the second reason was that the print ordering experience that I saw how Pic-Time demonstrated how people can jump into their galleries and shop with shop their photos within their gallery. It just looks way more intuitive and also enjoyable within Pic-Time because they have some kind of freaking robots working in the background. I am like the worst at anything to do with technology. Like I am the worst. So of course I'm like they have robots working in the background that literally somehow insert their favorite images into an image of a like a frame that you can hang on the wall, and it just magically appears in their shop, in their gallery, and it ends up being such a better experience for our clients because they can see, oh, if I want a white frame with white matting and this image in there, that's what that would look like. And it's just like, oh my gosh, mind blowing. It's such a such a big difference from what Pixieset offers. And I personally, even though I'm a photographer, for some reason, I have a hard time imagining what an image I'm thinking would look like in a frame. And it's like, should I choose this one or this one? And it just helps, like taking the visuals to that next level where our clients can literally drag and drop and you can see what it would look like in that kind of version of like a tangible item. It helps them visualize something better. Then when they can visualize it better, they become more emotionally, I guess, excited or attached to it. And that could lead to a sale, right? A much bigger sale. So those are the two reasons why I decided to switch. So now I'm going to tell you first about the migration process because you're probably wondering, oh my God, like was how much effort did that take you? Was it easy? Was it overwhelming? So yeah, I'll just break it down actually into three steps. Three steps. It was actually really easy. So first thing I did, step one, is I listed out all the galleries that I wanted migrated. So I just literally took a piece of paper or a Google Doc or something, I don't remember exactly, but I just went through my Pixieset and I listed everything out where I'm like, for sure, I want it moved over to Pic-Time. And for me, this is going to look so different for everybody, but for me, my thought process was I want all, because I specialize in documenting wedding days. I'm very like that is my main thing. That is my biggest passion. I want to have every single wedding that I've ever shot. I want to have that like preserved, and I want to be able to like look back at my work from even 2014, 2013, and maybe even um, re uh, reopen those galleries for those clients to even entice them to purchase more prints if they maybe never got to creating an album or buying wall art. It's like a great way for them to like refresh their memory to do that. So I was like, okay, every single wedding that I've ever photographed, I want migrated for sure. So I included those. And then I also just included some key portrait sessions with clients that I photographed after their wedding, because some I still have like that kind of ongoing relationship with where they continue to have me document like different milestones in their lives. And that's kind of actually changing a lot right now as I'm due to have our first little baby in about 3 or 4 weeks. So I'm actually officially saying no to any sessions at all for anybody outside of weddings. So I'm putting up that boundary just because weddings are my favorite thing to document. And I'm only going to be photographing engagement sessions for couples that book me for their wedding. So I'm not going to be doing anything outside of that. So, but before having starting a family, I was open to doing more sessions and having all of that offering all of that for past clients. So some key portrait sessions that I know I'm going to keep for past clients that have hired me for many different things. I'm like, okay, I'll keep those because I don't want them, I don't want the whole scenario of it disappearing and me having to upload it in the future, especially because the migration process is really affordable. So I was like, okay, just to avoid any issues down the line of them being like, oh, I forgot to download or whatever, I just wanted to do it that way. So step two, basically you fill out PicTime's form. It's like a migration form and it's very simple. They just ask you for your information and you have to list out every single gallery that you want moved from your current gallery provider to theirs. And you have to make sure that those names are exact. And then every single gallery you migrate is $1 to migrate, or it's 50 cents if you pay for PicTime 2 years in advance. So because I knew that I was committing to this big move, like I did all the research, I made my decision, I knew that I was going to be with PicTime for a while, right? So I personally chose that option because that means that if I'm paying for 2 years in advance, on not only am I saving money for the annual price of it, but I'm also saving money on the migration, like 50% off, right? So I'm thinking more long term. So, yes, initially the expense is more, but I'm thinking how to save money in the long run as well. So, that's personally what I did with that. Then, step three, after that form is filled out, you've paid everything. They're just working on the migration for you, and then the migration is complete just a couple weeks later. So it was really, really quick. I was just working on other things in the back end in the meantime. And actually, in the meantime, what I was working on was while they were migrating, I went to focus on learning about Pic-Time and how to use it and the back end of it and my sales strategy that I was going to implement, because they have a whole marketing system set up with being able to send customized marketing emails to your clients, pointing them to the shop that then shows them those beautiful, I don't know what to call it. Those beautiful, and it's not an animation. It's not even an animation. Um, Literally showcasing their favorite images in frames and stuff like that. So I went to YouTube to learn that, and so I'll tell you right now, the lessons that I learned that I watched in order, and then basically, oh my gosh, I just had a brain fart. Why is this happening to me? Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. So I will tell you the lessons that I listened to in order, and it might seem like a lot, right? But if you are in off season, you have a little bit more time um, to do that. But I'm telling you that the more you know how to use the back end of the system, and the more you strategically design your sales process for prints, the better it'll be in the long run for you. It'll just be so much of a smoother ride for you. And on top of that, probably more profitable as well. So I went to YouTube and I basically listened to these ones in order. So, how to set up your first client gallery, setting up your client store, getting started with sales automation, choosing your sales automation strategy, the simple sales system app, slideshows, marketing and client experience, and slideshows and the simple sales system. So, this is all by the way, if you just search Pic-Time on YouTube, they have these all in order. And it's literally, they have them labeled as Pic-Time Webinar 1, Pic-Time Webinar 2, Pic-Time Webinar 3. And there's 7 of them. So just go in order, and then it'll beautifully take you on a journey of you figuring out how to have this all set up, and what to use and what strategy you want to use and all of that. Oh, and for those of you that don't know, they actually also have slideshows available. The ability for you to create slideshows within Pic-Time as well. And one reason I don't create slideshows in Pic-Time is because for now they have a 500 photo limit to a slideshow, and I create 2 different slideshows for my clients. I create a 3-minute slideshow. It's more of a cinematic movie experience because it takes them on this emotional ride of the peak moments of the day. And then I have the slideshow that I create for them that has literally the whole day in slideshow format, every single photo. And so usually I deliver on average between 550 and 850 photos. It depends on the day, the length of the day, how many guests there are, all of that. And so I need the capability to have more than 500 photos in a slideshow. So I use Smart Slides for that. But if you never go anywhere close to 500 photos, then this is amazing because you can also create slideshows within Pic-Time as well. But I know I just said there's so many videos that I went through, right? And I think they're about an hour each. So just think about it as a 7 to 8 hour time investment for you to actually watch those videos, and then an additional hour maybe for each video to go in and learn and also strategize. So yeah, think about it as a 15 hour, 16 hour time investment, which will be worth it. And whenever I was feeling oh my gosh, this feels like a big project, I don't know how to get through it, what always kept me going was reminding myself the quote, slow down to speed up. Because when you slow down to do something properly, and diving in deep into it instead of rushing through it, you actually get to speed up later in the long term because you're not going to be like in the middle of busy season and being like, how do I do this again? Or like, oh crap, should my strategy be this or this or this or this? And then you don't end up doing it. Then you end up having less print profit and all of that. So I highly suggest that you just focus on slowing down to speed up in your business with this. Okay, so now I'm going to share with you my sales strategy so I can share with you what I decided to do. I can share the results, and then that way you when you dive into those videos and after you've listened to this podcast episode, you'll be able to better decide what sales strategy you want to use. So I basically, after watching all of those webinars from Pic-Time on YouTube, I basically chose what felt intuitively best for me. And I didn't waste too much time overthinking, because when you waste too much time overthinking, it just keeps you in limbo and you waste so much energy, so much precious energy, and not just like your physical, it's like physical, mental, emotional. You waste your time in your business. Like you just waste so much. So just decide something that just feels good to you. And then you can always tweak it after. You can always tweak it next off season, right? And remember, action creates clarity. So the only way to start actually getting clear on, oh yeah, so never mind, actually, I think I am going to go this direction, is once you are in actual motion and in action. So that's what I did. And so the decision that I made was to mark everything up that I chose to have in my shop, because basically you get to custom choose what products are in your shop for your wedding clients or your portrait clients or whatever. So I just decided what I wanted in my shop, and then I marked it up by 4 times the price. So if something was $20 for me to have been made, right? Then it would have been, I would be selling it for $80, for example. Okay, so basically now that you know that I marked everything up by 4, I'm gonna tell you which sales like strategies I had throughout the year. And then later I'm going to share with you my actual numbers. So for every single wedding that I photographed, I made sure that as soon as they got the gallery delivered to them, for the first 2 weeks that they had their gallery, they had a 40% off early bird sale. So that's part of the strategy. And this is what I learned through the Pic-Time webinars, right? So it's not like I made this up. This is like just one of the strategies that they were able to suggest. So yeah, so I was able to mark things up so high in order to then discount them heavily to entice people to buy within that short window, being like, oh my God, 40% off. And man, I mean, I don't know about you, but like when I see a 40% off, I'm like, oh my God, this was probably very rare. Like I need to take advantage of it now. And especially like that it's like meaningful, like photos and images. Like not only number one, will that increase the likelihood of the sale, but number two, on our end, we don't have to feel icky about it because we are selling something that is actually so valuable and sentimental. And so I actually don't feel icky about selling these things to our clients because they love their photos. They love these memories. It's something that actually adds value into their life. And it's not just some kind of like random consumer product that they're going to not give a shit about in a year. You know what I mean? So I feel really good about that. So the other one was where the other sale that I made sure to stay consistent across the board for all my clients was 40% off 1 week after portrait clients. So this I won't really have anymore because I won't really have portrait clients anymore. Well, I guess actually, oh no, I will have this for my engagement sessions for clients that are also getting married and have booked me for their wedding. So yeah, so for pretty much, I like to keep things simple in my business. So for all my couples that get their wedding gallery, they get a 40% off sale for 2 weeks. And for all of my clients that I photograph, like their engagement session, they get 40% off their gallery prints for 1 week after their session, just because it's like fewer images to go through. They'll be able to make that decision faster. Okay. The next sale that I ran was a 50% off holiday ornaments sale. And this one was something new that I think Pic-Time actually introduced. So yeah, and the beautiful thing about Pic-Time, oh my gosh, they literally emailed me. They're like, hey, look, like, you might as well try doing a holiday sale, and everything can be pretty much set up for you, but you can also customize it. And so they even go as far as suggesting the dates that you run the sale, because they literally have a professional marketing team on board. They know the consumer behaviors that our clients can have based on, um, you know, stats on when people spend money before Christmas, how soon people like getting prepared for gifts, and all of that. And so I pretty much had all the info, all the guidance from them on how to make this happen. I watched one webinar on it, and then I just set up the sale, and it was good to go. So I made it 50% off just because I felt like it. And it was only specifically on holiday ornaments. And then this is the last one, and I'm going to share the numbers with you after. It was the classic holiday sale. And so this was actually a fusion of two back-to-back sales, but all encompassed into one. So the classic holiday sale had two parts to it. So the first part was the Black Friday sale, and I personally decided to make that 45% off, because I wanted my clients to see that the discount amount was slowly dropping, because if they saw that the holiday ornament sale a couple weeks before was 50% off, and then the Black Friday sale was 45% off, they'd be like, oh, it's slowly dropping, so it's never going to be as good as this. It's just a little bit of a psychology trick. And then the second part to this classic holiday sale was closer to Christmas for those last minute people that are like, oh shit, like I have to get a gift still or whatever. Then I made that 35% off. So that was my strategy for the year. Very simple. And yeah, so now I'm going to walk you through the results. Ooh, actually, first I'm going to give you some tips, and then I'm going to walk you through some numbers. Okay, another deep breath. All you moms that are listening to this right now that have gone through being pregnant, I know you are totally like being like, oh, Sarah, I feel for you. You take as many breaths as you need right now. So one of the tips I wanted to give you is for you to trust the process and what they teach. So Pic-Time literally, like, oh my gosh, okay, this is what I want to quickly say. For you to get some results in a different way than you've ever experienced before, like different types of results, that means that sometimes you have to do things that you've never done before, you've never experienced before, that might make you feel uncomfortable. So for example, I've never had to, or never had to, I never decided to mark up my products in my shop in Pixieset before by 4 times or 3 times or anything, because I was always so scared. I'm like, this number seems so high, and I don't know, will people actually buy or not? So I never really trusted that kind of process or thinking about sales. And even though I've heard like photographers that do a lot of in-person sales and print sales, they're like, you have to mark it up minimum 3 times, and they even mark it up sometimes 5 times, things like 5 times the cost of the goods sold. And I never really followed that because I was scared, I was uncomfortable. I didn't want my clients to think that it was like, whoa, she's charging an arm and a leg, you know what I mean? So then when I watched the webinars on YouTube through Pic-Time, and here are these experts saying, here, this is what works, this is how like you make actual profit, and on top of that, people will buy. And I was like, okay, you know what, I'm just going to trust the process, I'm going to trust what they teach, and why not? What do I have to lose? Let me experiment, let me dive in, let me make this happen. I can always tweak things in the future. So that's a tip. And also, another big tip, don't price your products based on fear or lack of what you would pay. So don't so like I said, don't base the price of your products like I was doing. Like I was scared that people wouldn't buy, right? On top of that, don't assume that people would spend the same amount of money on prints that you would. Because let's say you're like, oh, like I don't know, I wouldn't spend more than $50 on prints, because maybe you're a photographer and you know that the prints that you want, you would just pay $50 and get them, right? But don't just assume that because you wouldn't spend more than $50 on certain types of prints that people wouldn't spend $200 on that print or 250. That's kind of like the biggest trap we can fall into. And you have such a varied range of like how much money people earn. So, so many of your clients could be earning more than you and could have a bigger budget. And just because you're like, I wouldn't spend that doesn't mean that they wouldn't, right? So keep that in mind as well. Oh, yeah. And also another tip, and I think I've mentioned this before, invite past clients whose galleries have expired for the holiday sales. So that's what I did. I kind of ended up all of my past wedding clients, even from like 2014, I sent them like a little like email where I was like, surprise, like here you get to see your images again, your memories. This gallery is going to expire the last day of the year. And I think I did it like beginning of November. I sent it to them. So they had 2 months like with their to enjoy the gallery. I was like, this is going to expire December 31st, 2021. And in the meantime, enjoy it. And also there's going to be some exciting sales coming up for like actual custom print products. So keep an eye out for that. So I kind of planted the seed in the beginning of November so they can already start thinking of like, oh, okay, there'll be sales coming up. Okay, that's good. Let me see what I want. Oh, let me see what presents I can think of for my family, for my friends. And that tip I got from Pic-Time, from their webinars on YouTube. So that's another little tip for you too. Okay, so now the exciting part. Let's talk about numbers. So, how much I made in print sales through Pic-Time in 2021, I'm going to share with you right now for the whole year. And because I pretty much all of my clients, all my galleries are pretty much weddings, let's just focus on the fact that I had 24 weddings in 2021, and that's where the bulk of it all came from. So let's just focus that that's how I earned the print sales, was through these 24 weddings. Okay, so my total revenue was $6,300 for $63.44 Canadian. And my total profit from that revenue in print sales was $34.38 Canadian. Okay, so I actually have it written out here as well. So my cost of goods sold, so basically what I had to pay for those products to be created for my clients, was $2,900. So that's a good amount for like a year for extra income, about $3,400. So now I'm going to break it down and then let you know where those sales came from. Because I told you that I had like all those different little strategies, like for example, 40% off for all my wedding couples. And also I had an ornament sale and a holiday sale. So I'm just going to break it down now to let you know where they came from. Okay, so from my 24 weddings, um, the couples that actually took advantage of the 40% off early bird, the 2 weeks after their gallery was live, my total revenue was $3,300. So my profit was about 60% of that. Because again, revenue means that includes your profit, that includes your expenses. So what it costs to actually create the product, right? And so my profit was $2,000 pretty much from that. Okay. Then from my ornament sale, my revenue was $284, and my profit, what I got to keep, was about $170. So not gonna lie, I actually was expecting a little bit more there, but that's okay. I experimented. I ran that sale for the first time. So that's what I got there. And then the classic holiday sale, my total revenue was $1,568, and my total profit was $940. Okay, so now that you know my total revenue from Pic-Time in the whole year, and on top of that, I just broke down where it came from, like which sales strategies the revenue came from. Now I'm actually going to switch it over to talking about how much I made in print sales through Pixieset in 2020. And this is just to try to give you some kind of comparison, because I know you're probably thinking like, okay, that's great, but I have no number to compare it to. Like, how did you do in sales in Pixieset? And so yeah, I wanted to give you these numbers too. And it looks like Pic-Time performed a little bit better. I don't have like the most perfect data to like give you to compare. It's not the best kind of like analysis that could be created, but based on the analysis that I did, it does seem that Pic-Time performs better. So just to give you a little bit of a heads up on that. Okay, so in 2020, I had 14 weddings, right? So obviously through the pandemic, I think I had like 30 weddings booked originally, and half of them rescheduled or canceled or whatever. So I ended up having 14 weddings. So this is based on that. Okay. So my total revenue from Pixieset in 2020 was 2682. And my total profit, what I got to keep from that 2682, was $863. So that's a lot less. Yes, I did have 10 fewer weddings in 2020 than I did in 2021, but keep tuning in because I'm going to share with you now the kind of difference of how I calculated which one performed better. So just as a reminder, in Pic-Time, or sorry, my Pic-Time sales in 2021 with 24 weddings, my total revenue was 6344 Canadian. Okay. My total profit was 3438 Canadian. So that was a nice profit. That was like kind of like how much if I average it out. Actually, I'm going to just like literally go on my calculator right now. 3438 divided by 12. Okay, so that's an extra like $286 a month. That's a nice little, some extra pocket money, right? So then let me see here. Total revenue for Pixieset in 2020 with 14 weddings was 2682 Canadian. And my total profit from that was 863. So now, since we can't directly compare because I had 24 weddings one year, 14 weddings the other year, right? What I ended up doing was dividing how much profit I made by the amount of weddings that I had, just to see how much profit on average I made additional per wedding on print sales in the gallery provider that I was in. So this is like the culmination of everything that I was like looking to share with you so you can get a better perspective. Okay, so with Pic-Time, my average profit per wedding was $143.24. Okay. And then for Pixieset, my average profit per wedding was $61.65. So it's actually less than half. So my conclusion in all of this with like just the best kind of like analysis that I can make, because it's not literally perfect, because some things were sold, some print sales were made on smaller portrait sessions, but mainly I focus on weddings, right? So yeah, pretty much Pic-Time performed much better in that. And it's not a surprise, because if you go check out Pic-Time and how beautiful the shop looks within the client's gallery, and how customizable it is for them, I am not surprised. So that is my conclusion. And I hope that it kind of like enlightened you to see how much additional income you can make. And again, this was me just like starting out in the first year, trying out a strategy. Of course, they have so many more other marketing strategy options for you to look into. And so, I'm not an expert in this yet, but they definitely do have a lot of photographers that share their experiences as well, of like which strategies they use and all of that. So you can find one that works really well for you. But yeah, in total, for me to bring in an additional $3,400 in 2021 compared to 863 in 2020 was actually really nice and got me really excited. And so, yeah, I hope that this information helped. And if you want to sign up for Pic-Time, if you want a bonus free month when you sign up for a paid plan, you can use code Sarah Monica, and it's all caps, Sarah Monica, Sarah no H, Monica with a K. Just type that in when you sign up, and they'll give you a free bonus month, which is valued at, I don't even know what it is, but it's some extra money in your pocket. So I hope that this helped you get some clarity and got you excited about some extra cash that you can make. And on top of that, like, it's so amazing that our clients get to have a much better experience with designing their custom family heirlooms, their family gifts, which are like so meaningful, and they get to just enjoy those photos in their hands and on their walls like so much more often. So I feel really, really good about the experience this provided for my clients. And yeah, I hope that you can now feel better about the experience that you offer your clients as well, from whichever provider you end up moving into Pic-Time, if that's what you choose to do. So yeah, thank you for tuning in, and I hope you have an amazing day.